Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you might be. This is ZS6YI hosting the Sunday DATV Worldwide Net. Today we have a number of people on frequency. ZS1 Mike won't be able to make it today. He had to leave a lot earlier, unfortunately, so he won't be on frequency. Anyway, it's lovely to see everybody on frequency. Hello to you, Mike, G0MJW. Hello to Ed in Brazil, Papa Yankee 2 Radio November. Hello to Bert in the Netherlands, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta. Hello to Martin in the UK, G8 KOE. And to Phil in the UK, Mike 0 PIT. And then to Michael, he's in Spain, Echo Alpha 7 Kilo India Radio. Nice to see you back on, Michael. And hello to Benno in the... how's my signal doing that? Papa Alpha 3 Fox. Let's just have a look, see. No. Anyway, so MZ, if you would like to take 6I.
Right. Well, Gary, you disappeared at the end of that over, and I couldn't really tell, but I think you passed it on to me. Actually, I don't know who I'm supposed to be passing on to, because I haven't looked, so sorry about that. Something went wrong. Good. Now, you can hear the beacon in the background. That was what I was going to talk about, actually, because I've not really done anything myself. So let's get on with that. I've got two things. One is I can show it live because it's running at the moment. This is Simon's wonderful latest version of his software. And there's probably going to be some sound as well if I turn that on. No, it's muted, so that isn't going to do anything. It doesn't make a noise at this part of the video. So there you go. It does now. Yeah, he's done a wonderful job. What I was going to do was just show this very short video, which is about 2 minutes long. Apologies if it doesn't work in advance.
To advance space technology development in Qatar, SHALESAT has initiated development of new technology for the Qatar Amateur Radio Society. As part of that initiative, SHALE-2 will enable the Radio Amateur Satellite Corporation
Also, es ist halt die Quelle, die wir brauchen. Hier, manche nehmen ja OBS Studio, die anderen arbeiten ja hier mit ja. Ja. Gut, Mikrofon in die Runde. Genug gesabbelt.
Leute, ich verabschiede mich wieder aus der Runde 73. Noch schönen Sonntag und ja, wir haben heute schönes Wetter. Gestern hat es 19,5 Grad in Baden-Baden. Die höchste Temperatur, die jemals im Januar gemessen wurde hier. Macht's gut. Ciao, ciao.
So, ich muss auch mal den Schluss machen. Ich muss hier so ein bisschen aufräumen. Meine Frau ist gerade Stühle zurück und ich gehe mit anfangen. Bis gleich.
Okay, ciao.
So that's enough of that. Amazing, isn't it? Very, very good. So Simon's done a fantastic job there. Should encourage him. That was recorded on my downstairs PC via the Pluto via Ethernet early this afternoon, just to test it. My other PC is playing up at the moment, so it doesn't do the frequency tuning without crashing. But that one works fine. And also messing around with this, which you can't see because it's out of the camera shot and might be difficult. Oop. Libra SDR, that seems to work as well, which is nice. So all good. Hello, Simon's probably sent me an email to complain. No, not yet. Right, okay. Don't think I've got anything much else. Got a bit of a cold, so I'm not going to be particularly coherent. But the one thing is we have a microwave round table next Saturday in the local village hall. Well, the next village is village hall. But I should be around next week as well. We wait and see. Okay, nothing much else. A few other things going on in the background, but I'll talk about those later. So I'm not sure who picks it up. Sorry, G0MJW.
Coming. Okay, I will try to fix. Fine, Ed. I'll pass it so long to Bert, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta. And then Bert, when you pass it to Martin, maybe Martin can just give a gap and perhaps Ed will be back. So, to you, Bert, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta, ZA6YI.
No. I saw no video from myself, but anyway, there seems to be any video now. And I hope also some audio. Yeah, also some audio. Okay, good afternoon everybody. From sunny Netherlands, the sun is shining and it's rather warm here in the sun. But anyway, it's much better than last week. We had rain and it was cold, freezing temperatures and so this is much better. I don't know what the exact temperature is in the moment. Anyway, everything is better than rain and freezing. I'm lately busy with my 10 gigahertz equipment. I can show you something. First, the receiver, a small receiver with a slot antenna. Yeah, maybe you can see it. It's approximately 50 centimeters long, total length. And yeah, as you can see maybe inside, it's just a normal LNB. Made some external 25 megahertz input for reference, and instead of yeah, the receiver dipole from the PCB, I mounted in a small SMD connector, so it's going directly from the antenna to the receiver. It's working, but as I said already, the temperature and the weather was not for me good enough to lower my tower and put in this top of the mast. So it's still here in the check. It's not this all, and this has to be assembled, of course. A small pipe, so I got a watertight cabinet, and hopefully this will work fine. I did already some tests last autumn and this worked, but I did some modifications and hopefully it will better. Oh. For the other thing, I'm busy with the 10 gigahertz beacon. It's a small PCB I just made this morning in a small cover with the 3D printer. And yeah, I had to assemble this with some other things in. And of course, it had to be stabilized, and I'm using such a small PCB with an ADF 4351 synthesizer, and also a divider in front of it, of course, because this PLL goes only till 4 or 4.4 gigahertz, and so I need a small divider in front of it. And I got a couple of old circuits from old English firm, and it's from the 70s, from Plesley. Maybe some people can remember maybe the name, Plesley. And also some filtering, and there's some caps for the 10 gig. And yeah, it's not radio, so but yeah, busy with it. That's all I'm doing at the moment. But that takes a lot of time to make everything correct. Yeah, a question for Mike. He's talking about the Libre SDR. Some guys here in the Netherlands are also busy, but they've got all the same problems. The 10 megahertz input. There's not possible to put the 10 megahertz reference input. Maybe you can tell something about it. I don't know if you have the 10 megahertz ref input. Yeah, that's all from this side. Just small things. Yeah, okay, then goes to the next one online is the other list. This list. Oh yeah, Martin, GAKOE, the King of England, as he said himself. From the group, from Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta.
Okay.
This stethoscope doesn't work. Sounds all right to me.
All right, guys. Sorry. Let's see if I can get audio going. Okay, everything going. It's like DATV is like an airplane. You have to do lots of pre-checks to avoid mistakes, and even after a couple of years, we do forget things. I just opened DATV Red, and it was showing connecting. So what the hell? I mean, it was not connecting to the Pluto. I have the Pluto on the Ethernet as well. So I thought, well, maybe it's a problem. Let me reset the Pluto. Then I saw I forgot to turn on the Pluto. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Gary. Thanks for coordinating the net. Hello, Mike. Very interesting news. Absolutely interesting. I'm glad to see SDR console by Simon Brown working on DATV reception. Very, very interesting. Although I'm curious to see if it's going to be able to tune any station here from this side of the world. I tried to use some software. Actually, there are two that I know, SDR Angel and the other one, AMSAT something. I try, but do you know, the low level of signals that we receive here at 7 degrees elevation is very difficult, and we don't have any problems with using the hardware, the mini tuner hardware. It's very sensitive, and even with I'm using a 1.5 meter dish, and I can tune I would say 95% of the stations, at least if they are near half size of the beacon signal. It's not a problem to tune here. But with the softwares, I got some issues. Don't know. Hopefully, SDR console using Pluto, maybe it's going to work. Let's see. Very curious. It's going to be great. Bert, very nice equipment for 10 gigahertz. Very nice. When I met you, Friedrichshafen last year, I I just bought some surplus, a 10 gigahertz surplus, supposed to be a complete system, RX and TX. I bought that, but it's old stuff. It's old stuff, but I didn't. I tried to find some, you know, guidance on the internet, some documentation for that equipment. There is no brand, there is nothing. I just have the boxes and the boards inside, but I couldn't find anything. But it's old stuff, so maybe I'm gonna play with that sometime. What I have to tell is last week I was operating from Paraguay, Zulu Papa. Zulu Papa / Papa Yankee 2 Radio November. I made, I don't know, 300 or so QSOs via QO-100. Among most of them on FT8 digital mode, but I did also SSB and CW. So very interesting. I'm gonna show you guys a little video. If I remember where I put it, I think it's on the expeditions. Okay. So the little video we're gonna show a little bit about the station, that the antenna that I used there in Paraguay. The region there is a border among 3 countries: Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina. I was in the Paraguay side. It's negative elevation, minus 0.1 degrees. Altitude there is about 290 meters. Lots of QSB. I even tried to transmit the DATV from there. I was able to see a little signal, but I had only 20 watts. So, but I was still able to see my signal. Obviously, no decode. No decode. I don't believe it would be possible to decode the DATV in such low elevation. But transmission on 2.4 gigahertz, yes, this may be possible with more power. So maybe next time we're gonna test their transmitting from Zulu Papa land to the DATV transponder here. So let me show you. There's a small part of I show the station, and then that region has very significant landmarks. One of them is the second largest hydroelectric dam in the world. The first one is China. Second one is here, Itaipu, which is a hydroelectric plant. And then some beautiful images from Iguazu Falls that I went there with my daughter and some relatives. My nephew, and you know, and I took some pictures, and I make some you know, movies of the falls. That's the largest fall in the world. I mean, the complex of falls is the largest in the world as well. So as I said, there are significant landmarks in that region. So here, let me change. Yeah, here's the region. and the red dot. The antenna that I use there for QO-100. This is the hydroelectric dam. Itaipu is the name. It generates a lot of power to Paraguay and Brazil. So those are the Iguazu Falls. There are several falls. That's the reason it's the largest in the world. Yeah, that's it. It's a beautiful place to visit. If some of you guys have the opportunity to visit, it's a nice, very nice place. There are other things in the region. Among the Paraguay is a tax-free zone, so it's paradise for Brazilians to go there and make some shopping. And that's it. So thank you all for watching. So back to Martin. Golf 8 Kilo Oscar Echo. Martin, hope you're ready, and thanks for waiting. My over here. G8 QOE from Papa Yankee 2 Romeo November.
Yeah, thanks there, Ed. Oh dear, what a lovely pictures. I didn't like the picture really close to the edge, looking over. My stomach turns over even just looking at pictures. You know, I just can't. I can't take that sort of thing. It's quite weird. But yeah, quite amazing. And yeah, the sketch at the beginning, I think, is fantastic. It was old sort of humour. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Brought a smile, certainly did. And Bert and the 10 gigs, yeah, very impressed with that. I must admit, miss playing with 10 gigs. A lovely band. I've played with it for a lot of years. Only really sort of used to do the TV side of things. I was down in Sussex on the south coast in the UK. But since then, I've just not had the facilities to really do it. So I'm very impressed with the slot, etc. All good. What have I been up to? Not a lot, really. Just playing with my... I didn't come on mic, and the software there from Simon. That looks very impressive. I know it's early days, and yeah, knowing how he develops things, absolutely, yeah, be interested what computer it'll be able to operate on eventually. Maybe all depends on how the coding goes, but still excellent, excellent results. Yeah, what I've been playing with, I'll go back to that. There's not really a lot to add. Is the SRT little repeater that I'm sort of playing with, which there's nobody accessing at the moment, which is that's it, completely all four screens and nobody operating it. But, we go over to screen we've got, that's not what I wanted, but we launch that up. That's what it is at the moment, but we'd just do a little thing. What I've done is got rid of the laptop that I was using, which has had OBS on it, etc. So the receive setup now is the 4 SRT players, as you can see stacked up there, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the 4 inputs, and the input information is at the bottom there, which you can access from OBS, etc. Stream to it. From there, the 4 HDMI outputs go into the quad multi-viewer switcher, which is what gives me the 4 pictures. The audio is taken out analog wise, so as I could combine it, and goes through this high quality 4-channel mixer. And from there it's fed back into the audio, into the encoder, which has an audio input, which is one of the reasons I went for the Zoe Tech or Zoe box. It'll probably be on YouTube videos, etc. There's an HDMI input, which comes straight out the quad multi-viewer switcher. So that goes in, and there's an output, HDMI output. I didn't put a label on it, but there's an HDMI output on the right hand side, which goes and feeds my monitor that's seeing what's going on in the Zoe Tech. The other thing that the Zoe Tech encoder has is overlay facilities, which at the moment I'm just overlaying a small caption at the top that says JKOE SRT repeater, and the talkback on All-Star 47572. The encoder at the moment is streaming to the BATC, so it's on the BATC site, or should be, under the call sign JKOE. Also is streaming to the Media MTX SRT server, which is what serves everybody that is watching. So everybody that connects up is connected to the Media MTX server, and that's it. That's what it consists of. I'm having some problems with the streaming to the BATC side of things. That keeps dropping. So at the moment I'm got a log running to hopefully get things up and running. What I could do, he says, which I hadn't really planned to do it, but if I show the Zoe box, just log into it. You can log into it from a web interface. What you see is what you get. So that's what it is at the moment. That's what's at the top. And you've got various overlays you can do on screen displays. Put a test card on it, which is what's going out now. JKOE puts a caption at the bottom. That one, which is what I normally leave it running to, which is a small thing. And what I was playing with was that same side of things, which usually takes a little bit longer to encode, it seems, but that should be going out. It's going out on the BATC thing. For a while, the SRT seems to take just a little bit longer to encode on that picture, probably because it's very busy. Once it's encoded, it seems to be fine. It's proved me wrong now. It's not doing it. But anyway, go back to that one, which is how I leave it. So that's controlled from the and all the settings, etc., are available from within the box. Video settings and encoder and output and etc., which is makes it quite. There's also a secondary stream that I can monitor locally. It's originally designed to there's a little box that goes with the cameraman, I think, so as he can do NDI or SRT or whatever and monitor things, and what you see is what you get, basically. Probably similar to the Link Pi, or not play with the Link Pi, so I don't know what inputs and outputs you've got on that. But by using this particular box, it's meant I've been able to do away with lots of other splitters and things that I had in line. They're not really DATV, I suppose, or maybe it is. And the talkback channel that is in operation at the moment, you've got quite a few people on it. It seems to be working reasonably well. This is connected at the moment, including VK3 TRX Rob, who I had a brief word with the other day, so hi to VK Land. I think that's probably about it. Oh yeah, I had some problems there, Ed, this morning with DATV Red. It wouldn't boot up for some reason. It looks like I've got a cup of tea coming now. So the canteen's arrived, and you can say hi to everybody. So Carol's gone away now. I think she should have realised that was on there. But anyway, that's completely thrown me now. But I've got a cup of tea, so I'm happy. And we've got sunshine and over lots of cloud at the moment. Right. Yeah, I use DATV Red. That's right. It wouldn't boot up. Wouldn't sort of launch. And I thought it was usually I've forgotten to switch the Pluton, etc. But I found I could ping it, and it was still there quite happily after I'd done a reboot. So I must admit I cheated, as knew the net was coming. I did a fresh install, which is so easy to do. I think some parameters probably got stored in the browser, which I think is where they store them. I probably could have cleared the cache out, but I didn't want to do it at this sort of stage. But just did a reinstall, and I was happy, which is what we're running at the moment. That's a long waffle from me. Don't think anything else to add. So Phil's probably, I think it's Phil it goes to next. He said having a quick look. Yeah, it's Phil. So he'll have plenty to talk about because he's been having a few problems, I think. Right, I'll put up a test card and it's over to you there, Phil, from Golf 8 Kilo Oscar Echo.
Afternoon, guys. Morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Not a nice day here. It's raining. It's a bit of a shame. It was quite nice yesterday, but anyway, it's raining now. Ed, yeah, that waterfall. Wow. Yeah. I'd like to see that. Yeah, look really nice. If I have the opportunity, I'll go there. But, yeah, very nice, Ed. Very nice. And as for Martin and all his Raspberry Pis, I'm convinced he's got a breeding program going on, but he's keeping that under wraps. So many pies there, it's unbelievable. And had tea being brought to you? Gosh, can't remember the last time I had tea being brought to me. Anyhow, what have I been up to? All sorts of bits, nothing really exciting. I've got a problem with my ports down, in that sometimes it produces, this sounds daft, but it's true, it produces more power than what it's set up for. It will go like it is at the moment, it will run like this, and then I'll turn it on one morning and the signal that's coming out of the ports down may be 6 dB more than what it is at the moment, and none of the parameters have changed. And I've not found out the reason why. It seems strange. I could understand if the output goes down, but it doesn't, it goes up. And I do have a digital attenuator in the ports down, but if I alter that, the level changes only by the amount that I have changed it by. It doesn't go back to the original level. And then after about 5 minutes, all of a sudden it will go back to the level that it should be. No, I just can't work out what it is. I've put a directional coupler in it, so now I've got the analyzer on it as well. But since I've done that, of course, it hasn't gone wrong. I've put the VNA on all the cabling that goes from the ports down right the way out to the little hut outside where the PA is, and I've put a VNA on that, and everything looks fine. Everything looks about, I think it's about 49 ohms or something like that at 2.4 gigs. So I've been doing that and I've not got any answers at all. The rest of the time I've been working on my new PA controller, which is this beast here, which I've showed you before, which is a SMT32, and this one is it's pins wise it's an Arduino Uno, but it runs a damn sight faster. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a shield that goes on the top with all the auxiliary connections to it, etc. And this is an enlargement of the printed circuit board. Oh, you can't see it, as you can see it. But I find it quite difficult looking on a screen and deciding the best place to put the tracks. So what I now tend to do is, once I've virtually done it, I print it out, and then I get the pen out and I reroute them, because I find it so difficult to try and look at the best route on the screen. Mind you, I have the same problem if I read any documents. I find it very difficult to read it off the screen. I much prefer paper copy. But anyhow, that's me. It might be something to do with the fact that I'm dyslexic, but hey ho. So that's that. And I've also got problems with my laptop. Everything I run here is Linux, and it's quite an old operating system, and it's got to the point now where Firefox is basically not very happy because it's such an old version, and I can't update it because of the actual operating system is too old for it to be updated. But an interesting thing is happening is that if I look at streaming on it, whatever, if I look at any streaming on it using Firefox, after about a minute it will start to complain and slow down, and if I look at the statistics, what's going on the network, it then speeds up and carries on. So anyhow, so the bottom line is I'm going to not upgrade my PC, I'm going to upgrade the operating system, but that will mean removing all the data that I've got on it, and there's a lot of data because that's been running like that for probably about 5 years, so there's a lot of stuff on it. I'm more worried about the data. I'm not worried about the programs, I can replace those, but it's the data that's on it. So what I've done about a couple of hours ago is build myself a server, a Linux server. So if I can find it, where is it on? It's on, oh, this one. It's out of focus, I'm sorry. But it's an old ProLiant server. It weighs about 18 kilo, weighs a ton. But the idea is that I can take the hard drive out of my laptop and I can physically put it in there, and then I can just transfer the data over, and then at that point I can wipe that hard drive and put it back in the PC and then rebuild everything. But that's what I've done this morning. It's surprising it didn't take that long to build it, actually. Probably less than an hour to actually get the operating system on it and working. Hang on, let me go back. Wide cam. There's me wide cam. So that's me again. So that's really what I've been doing. It's nothing really exciting. A load of old waffle. So I think I shall hand it over to Michael. I'm sure Michael's got something really interesting. Far more interesting what I've been waffling on about. So right then, Michael, hope you're ready, because I'm going to put up a test guard, and then I shall kill
trouble. Looks like Mike. Or you passed it over very, very quickly there, Phil. So we'll give Michael a time to quickly get his things going. Just want to say hi to everybody on YouTube. We have the following. We've got Ishmael, DL2IE. We have Brian, G6HFS. We have Jabi Aguirre, is the EA2ARU, and Jabi asked a question. What river was that? You can just mention on the next over, perhaps. Ed, what river was that beautiful waterfall in? And then we have Joe. Now, Joe sent me a very interesting email with photos about a power measurement, SWR stroke forward power unit that he's built, works very well on this frequency. But I did say, look, we're hoping Joe will come up and then he can introduce that project to you himself instead of me doing it on his behalf. But I'm always happy to do it if he does want that. But that looked very good, Joe. And hello to Stephen, ZS6 X-ray uniform. Hello to Stuart down in a place called George in the Western Cape, ZS 6 ZR1 Whiskey Tango. And then Alfredo always comes up from Italy, India Kilo 1 Ciao, COA. So those are the guys that are watching. There were about 60 people when I last saw that had been looking. Right, I've just been running the cob here until Michael comes up. If not Michael, then Benno. So Echo Alpha 7 Kilo India Romeo to take it. If not, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray from Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India.
Well, it seems Michael is not getting on there. Also no response from him. Major problems here, he writes on the chat. So if he needs any offer, he just can check the chat and we comply, Michael. Well, hi guys. Nice net. Nice to see you all. In the southeast, the west and the north. Well, I should say the far east is a little bit evicted or vacant, or it's at least they are not very often on the air. It must be late there. It's a pity. I always love to see India and Brazil on the same moment. Well, just shortly after each other. Impressive video, Ed, of your holiday. Must be nice. I think it's great. You show us pictures from there. I mean, I like to see pictures from all over the world, and yeah, you make that through, Ed. Well, what am I up to besides, well, I am not much. Yesterday I had I had already had a All-Star Note repeater kind of thing lying on the floor, 3 handies running with modems on a Note, and that works. It just works. And while I was doing some other things, I made some short there and blew some things up, and then I thought, yeah, it shouldn't be that on the floor just like that. It should be boxed if it works. So proof of concept worked, and now to box it. So I'm currently working on boxing it. This is 2 handies, 2 meters and 70 cents with 2 modems. On the back there will be a power supply and a Raspberry. It will be in a box here, and obviously the box is too small to hold everything I want to put in. That's the basic problem I always face, but at least it will be more stable by the end I'm finished here. And yeah, that's what I'm currently doing. The nasty bit. I don't like hardware, I don't like the mechanical stuff, but yeah, it needs to be done. So I will do it, and then at least I have a nice boxed thing, which I then can put on a shelf and connect everything to it, and it should work more stable. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. In the meantime, I've ordered 20 more of these boards. So they will come and by the end of this week, because I now have well, 15 boards gone. I have some boards here still, but I'm going to use them myself. But I have still parts for another 20 boards, so that should solve the short list of interested people. I get also questions for other projects, not for All-Star, but use this for other modem type, because the most internet supplied modems are at least double or triple the price, and I make them for hobby prices because I don't want to earn too much money on it. I just don't want to lose money on it, so it's just the real price. Okay, I see Michael has solved his problem. Well, looking forward to see you, Michael. Listen to your internet problems yesterday, complaining about the 600 meg up and down speed internet provider hardware stuff. Yeah, I think everyone has its problem with internet and other things. It's always something and just our lack of knowledge to get this to have lack of knowledge how to solve it, and just to reinstall it. That's maybe just the most easiest way, Martin. Okay, well, passing it on to Spain and Adam. Yes, I can give a link to the project. I have put something on my Google Drive, sending that data out, and if people want to have a look into it, so I will put a link up during then Michael's over. Passing it on to you, Mike, from Michael from Papa Alpha. Oh, I forgot to mention, Mike, nice video, piece of software. Yeah, you should explain a little bit more because it's quite obvious for you, and I have heard about it once or twice, but I understand Simon Brown made a nice piece of software for receiving part of the with normal SDR receivers. You don't need a mini tuner for that. And yes, I have, well, you have Azure Angel, and you have that German specialist making a nice piece of software for Windows. And I think Simon Brown always have nice GUIs. So I hope his version is more friendly to use, because that's the biggest problem on software solutions. You have a lot of tools, and mostly you don't need all of the tools. You want to play with them eventually if you know what you're doing, but at start you just have to switch on and it should just work for the basic settings. And I think Simon Brown is the guy who can understand that part. Okay, but indeed you should tell us a little bit more what is the prereq, what you need, a kind of machine power. Is it also running on an i5 or only on an i9 or something like that? Okay, and software or hardware decoding things. Those kind of things we need as good test results, because I can imagine it doesn't run on a simple PC with i5 or on a laptop i5 or something like that. Okay, microphone to Spain. The frequency all yours, Michael, from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray, and I have a test card somewhere along the line. Hello, bit.
Well, these things happen, don't they? I don't know why. I'll say it anyhow. It's obvious, isn't it? I tested it before we went on air. There's no problem, right? And what actually happened was on the roof, which is where the PA is, there's also a Raspberry Pi, which is on 24 hours, 7 days a week, and never switch it off. And it's been utterly 110% reliable for the last 2 years. and just now it decided to not work. Fortunately, on my transmitter, I get an error message saying can't contact the server, because that's called the server up there. And that controls the power it switches the power on and off, basically. That's all it does, because there's fans and things in there. So as soon as you power up the transmitter in the shack here on my desk, it communicates with the thing up there, and as long as that link is being polled every second, all the gear up there stays switched on. So what could happen? Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, a power outage could make it go, because there's no ups up there, and we do get a lot of brownouts. But I didn't notice one, because normally when we get a brownout, my UPS, which is down here, that goes beep, and you know. But I mean, I've lots of brownouts, and the power supply up there, the 5-volt supply that feeds the Pi, is hefty. It's got a lot of reserve power in it. It can ride out. I've never tried to find out, but it's big enough to ride it out for several seconds, I would have thought. Anyhow, I rebooted it and it's working now, so I'll investigate that later. But how do you investigate something like that? You know, I don't know. They're called gremlins, aren't they? We all have them. Anyhow, it's working now, so here I am, which has completely thrown me, of course, trying to remember what's been said. Yeah, Mike, that looks really nice, that software, absolutely. But what I was really hoping you were going to talk about was your experience with the Libre SDR and how it's coming on, because I think you were experimenting with it the other day. I was watching some very fast chat going on the chat page between you and Brian, and I assume that's what you were testing, but I don't know. I'd like to know more about that, and if you want to talk about it when you come back on, that'd be nice. The waterfall's fantastic. Fantastic what Martin's doing. He's building an SDR repeater, which could have RF attached to it one day. Absolutely. Which is not dissimilar to what I'm trying to do, but I'm doing it a completely different way, of course. Even though he's streaks ahead of me. Mine will only have one SDR input. He's got 4. And I definitely intend to make it RF eventually. But that will involve getting a license in Spain, which it was hard enough getting this license, believe me. So I don't know. I don't even know how to go about that at the moment. I've got a rough idea, but it sounds bloody complicated. So we won't go into that. Anyhow, on the chat, I mentioned a few things. I mentioned this. Now Martin introduced us to this. He showcased this a few weeks ago on the Thursday night chat, and it's a little 4-channel mixer. It's exactly the one he's using. So I bought one because they're like €10. Wow. 4 inputs. Beautiful, beautiful piece of kit. I've not a clue what I'm going to use it for, but I thought I'd get one because it's so nice and it's so cheap, and there's bound to be a possibility I'll need it one day. The other thing, I don't know if this works. I haven't tested it yet. Martin's obviously does. And I think Martin was very wise not to buy one of these. This is a Link Pi. Okay, this is actually version 3, And the answer to your question, yes, it does have audio inputs. It's got loop-through HDMI. It's got all kinds of bells and whistles. And allegedly, it'll do everything that your Zoe does, except it doesn't work. It would be nice if it did. It actually did work for about a month, actually. And then I started altering the settings because I'd set it so that it streamed locally to my desktop. And then I wanted it to stream to the BATC site, so it involved going in and changing a few settings. And from that point on, it just got worse and worse and worse, to the point now where it's absolutely unusable. It's completely, absolutely. So I have messed around with it a lot, and I cannot bring it back to life. There's a hardware reset button on the back, and you can certainly do that. Having done that, at least you can log into it now. But, you know, some of the buttons don't work. You know, there's a lot of save buttons. And when some of them, the ones that do work, you get a message coming up saying saving. And then there's others that just do nothing. And they definitely don't save. Because if you move away from that page back to it, it's back where you started. So it's absolutely useless. And I went through I bought it on Amazon, fortunately. But it's not supplied by Amazon. It's supplied from another source, you know, another source. So you have to get in touch with them. Absolutely uncooperative. They respond immediately with stock answers. And it don't matter how you re-explain the problem, you get the same stock answer. So I put in several complaints on the procedures on... Oh, they wanted my email. So that I could talk to them directly. This is against Amazon's recommendations. They recommend that you do not do that. You use the official Amazon way of doing things. So I did. I still get the stock answers. And then finally, this went on for a while, and I'm getting nowhere. And every time I'm doing this, I'm clicking boxes that say the dealer is absolutely useless, he's not cooperating, and so on. And They agreed they'd take it back, but I had to post it, and I had to pay the postage. But Amazon's rules are that they are supposed to supply a prepaid label, so you don't pay the postage. So I reminded them of that, and then I didn't get any answers. No answers at all. So I then pressed another button that Amazon supply, which I hadn't been seeing up to now. And it's just called refund. So I pressed that, and lo and behold, in my bank account, 2 days later or 3 days later, I get the full purchase price, including the postage that I had to pay to get it, because I'm an Amazon Prime, but this is not an Amazon supplied product, so you have to pay postage. And I would have had to pay postage going back, so I get the full whack back that left my bank account 2 months ago, and I still got the thing in my hand. Useless, but I could put it on eBay and sell it to some sucker, couldn't I? Like someone did to me with a GT Media tuner thing. Anyhow, oh, by the way, one thing that this is also very good at, and I'm seeing on forums that I'm not the only one that's suffered with this, it can actually screw up your ISP router. It does. It absolutely screws it up. You get something wrong in this, and then your whole local area network goes boomf. Doesn't work, nothing. And the only way out of that is rebooting the router. And in my case, it takes about 5 minutes to come back up, if you're lucky. It's a ISP supplied one, and it's absolute rubbish, but that's the way it is. And it's not easy to replace it with something else, because Movistar have used two manufacturers, Alcatel and is it Hui, the one that America's just banned. They use two of those at different phases in their establishment, and you've got to have the right, if you want to do it on your own, you've got to know what's at the other end, and then you need special codes to get in. Oh my goodness me. It's far too complicated. So I'll just stick with this useless piece of rubbish that they've given me and lump it. So what else have I been doing on the positive side? Because all this takes up time, you see. I mean, this takes a lot of aggravation and distracts from what I'm really trying to do, which is carry on writing the software for this repeater that I am trying to write, the control software for it. So I've been able to get back to that now. I mean, it's up there, it's working, but you can't get into it, you know. But I've managed to get rid of race conditions in the software, you know, mutexes and all this stuff, and so it's stable, and I've got the code transported. You see, I'll show you. Martin showed a box with his 4 pies in. Well, this is my box with 4 pies in. Okay, it's a bigger box, but it's only 4 pies. But it's also got in there, right at the bottom, I've put a, you can't see it in this picture, but right at the bottom there's an 8-way Ethernet switch, and then there's 2 racks with two Pi 5s and 2 Pi 4s on, and then above that there's an HDMI switcher, and then above that there's an encoder which was the Link Pi originally, and now it's an Evist, which unfortunately doesn't have HDMI loop through, not the model I've got anyhow. So I've had to put a splitter in for that, so I can monitor it locally as well as sending it to the internet. And despite the fact that the encoder's an old one, it does actually stream to RTMP and SRT at the same time, and that does actually work. The thing I've been wasting so much time on, though, and the reason that you can't get in to the repeater and use it, is because I've been trying to get a Morse code ident working. And to do that, I took the easy route. You know, I thought, well, I'll just use FF play and play a WAV file. And of course that works, but the encoder doesn't seem to like it. It certainly works coming out of the Pi. You know, I can overlay audio on top of the whatever picture's there, and that just works fine. But for some reason the encoder doesn't like it, and I don't know why. I've tried different formats other than WAV. You know, I've tried MP3, I've tried MPEG something else, and I've tried I don't know, I've tried a few, and that's not the problem. So it's something to do with the encoder. I don't know what it is, or it's to do with sync. I have no idea. It might be to do with sync. I haven't experimented with that. But as far as I can remember, it did actually work on this. So that's where I am at the moment. I think I'll have to buy one of them Zowie things that Martin's got. But the code for actually getting in is actually written and tested on another version. That's why I've got 4 Pis. The reason I got 4 Pis in here, the original concept was 4 Pis. Actually use 4. One as a controller, one as a receiver, one as an RTMP receiver, and one as a SRT receiver. Okay, similar to what Martin's doing. Similar, a load of Pis and an HDMI switcher. That was the original plan. And then I thought, well, let's be more ambitious than that. You know, I'm calling this repeater to be experimental, so let's experiment. So I've done away with the HDMI switcher. I mean, it's still there because I can switch between different things, so it's handy. But the switching is actually done on a Pi 5 now. So what I'm trying to do now is get everything working on one Pi 5, no external switcher. So not 4 Pis, but 1 Pi. 1 Pi and no HDMI switcher instead of 4 Pis with an HDMI switcher. That's the ambition. And the theory goes that if I can do it with just RTMP and a slideshow, which I can do it with a slideshow and SRT, or a slideshow and a receiver. they'll never all be working at the same time, you see. So it's not like you're increasing the load. If the Pi can cope with two things at any one time, end of story. It should work, shouldn't it? But there is a problem. There are many problems, believe me. I mean, it's working, and I'll have it working in a day or two now. I'll have it integrated so I can prove it live. But it won't be working how I really want it to work, which I won't go into now because it's far too complicated for even me to explain because I don't understand it myself. But anyhow, I'll have something working very soon, I think. Anyhow, I think that's enough from me. I'll just look at the chat. Michael, have you changed the FM-MPEG audio codec? Yes, I have. I've tried to change it to what, though. You know, that's the thing. The obvious seemed to me to be ACC, and none of those seem to work for me. I don't know. I mean, the other thing I tried, you're supposed to be able to get the FM player to generate tone, a sine wave, and I can't get that to work either. So I don't know. I don't know. The only thing I haven't done is updated the version of FM-MPEG and so on to the latest, which is now version 7.1. Last time I looked, it changes every day. Whereas the Debian default is 5 point something. So it could be that the latest version might actually work. So that's something else I want to try. But frankly, I'm fed up with the Morse code thing. I'm more in, you know, I've spent far too much time wasted on that for now. So I decided to put that on the back burner and concentrate on the more important stuff, actually being able to actually use the repeater, never mind the Morse code ident. So that's the thinking now. That's the direction I'm going in now. So where we're going now, I presume we, just let me look at the list, I presume we're going to Gary, unless there's somebody else on the list. Yeah, but we're going to Gary. Thanks for putting up with me. I've spoken far too long. I do apologise for that. I got into a bit of a, yeah, okay. So from EA7KIR in not so sunny Spain today, over to what was presumably winter in South Africa, ZS6YI Gary. Or perhaps you don't know Gary, perhaps you never go outside. Perhaps you're like most of us and you spend far too long in the shack. I know what the weather's like because I got a window, you see. Okay. Over to you, Gary. Over and out from Spain. Just put up the test card so we know where we are. Boom. Done. Bye.
Well, Michael, it's very nice to hear you, and it's been a long time, so it was very interesting, I must say, and sorry about the woes and all the pies and all the things that you want to reduce. It's very interesting, and I think your last method will be the best. Keep it simple, stupid. Kiss. But all good, nice to see you on, and just want to see I've got a lot of null packets. I don't know why that should be. But anyway, I have a problem with the heat on my processor. It gets very hot when I run the Node Red. But anyway, we'll sort that out in due course. I'm going to be making a little plate, copper plate that I can stick onto my processor, and then run it through the outside chiller. Then I know I can keep the temperature down. It gets up to 80, 90 degrees very quickly. So I even put an air conditioner pipe onto the input of the water cooler they've got in it. But it's not that effective anymore. Something's changed. It's all these darn updates, you know. Anyway, Mike, yeah, it's very, very good on the software from Simon. I was talking with him, I think, last weekend, and he did say he's very close to transmitting, but it sounds like he is already transmitting the TV picture, so that's excellent news. And I know Simon always does a great job, and he tests it thoroughly before he publishes it. So good on you for doing all those tests. That's very nice, and what we saw earlier on was brilliant, so no problem there. Ed, fantastic on your trip out. I saw a lot of your activity on the satellite, although I wasn't on the satellite. I just saw all the guys calling you and logging you and mentioning that you were portable. So I bet it was a good time. Lovely photos indeed. Reminds me a little bit of the Victoria Falls, which is incidentally one of the wonders of the world. That's something else to behold when it's in full stream. The Vic Falls, oh, it's a fantastic sight. But very good on your one. And of course there was a question, old Jabi, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He wanted to know what river it was. Yeah, Martin, good on you with the 4 pies. No, you're doing some great work there, actually. And very soon things will be working the way you want them to. Of course, it's interesting to see what Benno's doing. He's doing everything you're doing there, but very small and a little transceiver RF-wise. So there's a lot of good work coming out on this D-Star stroke All-Star stroke Echolink. So yeah, it makes it interesting, that's for sure. Right, Phil, yeah, sorry to hear about the mishaps. I've had my week full of that, but I've been too busy at the salt mine, so I haven't bothered too much. But if we can get a chance this week, I'll make a little thing on the milling machine just to put a proper external refrigerated chiller onto this processor and then see what it does. But something's not right. Okay, with that, I'll make this my final over, and I'll just pass it back to Mike and go through the list. And then we'll close the net after this over is done. Golf Zero Mike Juliet Whiskey. I see what you say here, might take it longer. But give us some more talk on that, Mike, if you can, more info. It's very nice. Golf Zero Mike Juliet Whiskey to take it from ZA6 Yankee India.
Right, slightly disorganised at this side. Sorry for the delay. G0MJW. Yeah. Ed, that D-Expedition sounded really interesting. I wish I'd known about it. I would have at least tried to receive your TV pictures, because I think if you use a quarter rate FEC, if you can see it on the transponder, you can decode it pretty much. So, yeah. And I've got a bigger dish, and it wouldn't have suffered from the low elevation angle. Well, it would on the uplink, of course, but not on the downlink. So that would have been interesting, I think. Right, okay. Just looking at various comments. Was it Ed? No, it wasn't Ed. It was Benno. Yeah. It already transmits, so that was what we were testing yesterday. It was transmitting, but it wasn't transmitting a compliant stream, so although it could receive it itself, it wasn't being received by Minituna and Winter Hill. And basically Brian, myself and Simon were trying to debug it, find out what the problem was. And most of those problems have been solved. There are still some problems, a bit of jitter on the various parameters being sent. So it's not quite there, but almost. And yeah, it works on receive as well. So, I mean, the receiving is very difficult. The transmit side is difficult too, but got to get the receive working first. And it seems to be quite good, maybe within a dB or so of the hardware solution. The hardware solution is still winning though, as you might expect. And I thought I'd explained it because I thought it was obvious, but It's a software DATV package that uses a software-defined radio. Now, you need a software-defined radio that can transmit if you want to transmit, and you need one that does the bandwidth available. So most of the audio card-based ones won't work because they won't have enough bandwidth. But Pluto or the Lime, and many of the others will. And LibreSDR, there's a guy working on some new firmware for that. Everest F5 OEO has picked up on what he did and has ported his TechZula firmware to it. So the LibreSDR is now running TechZula, and it seems to work okay, but there may be some issues. For example, was it Bert or Benno saying that the 10 megahertz reference doesn't appear to be working? Well, there's not a 10 megahertz reference, it's 40 megahertz, but I assume that's what you meant, and I've not tested that, I don't know, so hard to say. But that's quite likely, that maybe the switching between them is different, or maybe not implemented, I don't know. Maybe you have to move a resistor in it or something to enable that, or fit a jumper. But it certainly works like a Pluto when booted from the SD card. Everest has released the latest version was about a week and a half ago, something like that, and it seems to be working as far as I can tell, and it works with Simon software as well without really any prompting or testing. Now whether it's working properly or well or giving the right spectrum I can't comment, but it's working. And they are in a nice box, and they are about the same price as a standard Pluto. I don't know why people buy cheap Plutos really, because the existing one is so cheap, but there's a version of this which is $130 or so. I don't think that's the same thing at all. So I would not try and get that, and people do go for the cheapest. It's never a good idea. But this one, it's in a nice box basically, and it brings out all 4 connectors, which is nice for the 2 transmits. The thing is, the chip that's being used is not the full chip, so they may work and they might not, depends on the chip. So the performance won't be as good as the full 4-way B200 or B whatever it is. But then again, it's a fraction of the price. And this is currently operating, sorry about the cable now in the way, it's running on USB, and if I go over here, oops, no, that's the wrong one, that one, there it is receiving the beacon. And if I can get this to the front, you can see at the moment I set a microphone, and you can set a camera, and you can set your transmit parameters, and the same on the receive side as well, if you can see the mouse. Here's the spectrum. You don't have to have that, you can get rid of all these overlays if you like, so that you've only got. Then you can get rid of the transmit and receive windows as well if you really want to. Or you can go full out mode, and that's when it crashes. So it works, but there's got a few bugs. That's all really. But fantastic. And I'm not going to answer your question, Adam, because I'm not going to try and influence anything, so I'm not going to say, sorry. It works on a standard Pluto. Right, okay, I think that's it. So 7-3 everybody. Next week we have our round table, which might mean I'm a little bit late back and might have other things to do on the Sunday. And the following Sunday, the 8th, I know I'm going to be away. So hopefully I'll be here next week, but I won't be here the week after. And anyone who's coming on the AMSAT net, SSB net on the narrowband transponder, which is at about 10:30 in the morning UK time. That won't be happening on Saturday, or of course, but same question: will it happen on Sunday or not? Hopefully it will. Okay, that's enough from me. Sorry it's taken so long. G0MJW.
Okay. G0MJW, Papa Yankee 2 Radio November coming back. Thanks, Mike. Excellent information, very interesting. Really nice view of the DATV version of SDR console. Yeah, the layout of the window looks very similar to the SSB that I use here. Receive on the right, left hand side, and transmit on the left. On the, I mean the opposite. Left hand is the receive, and the right hand is the transmit on SSB, and he keeps things similar, which is very good. LibreSDR, yeah, lots of people are talking about this LibreSDR. I don't have any. I do have the Pluto Plus, which works okay. A little bit more phase noise than the original Pluto, but other than that, it works fine. I'll let you know next time. Probably we're gonna transmit from Paraguay, DATV. I'll let you know. So we may test. Probably gonna have to do remote reception because I'm afraid that we'll not be able to install like a 3, 4, 5 meter dish there to get a DATV reception. Too big. Well, everything very interesting from everybody. Really nice. For the friend that asked about the falls, yeah, actually this is on the Iguazu River. Iguazu River is the river that divides Brazil with Argentina, and that's the name of the falls, Iguazu Falls. Yep. So it's a nice place. However, yeah, in Africa, Gary, there is the Victoria Falls. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna know that falls as well. It'll be very interesting. Other than that, Martin, about the DATV Red. Actually, I'm running the old version 3.99. I cannot make the newer version work because it will not start encoding. I don't know what happened. Maybe after some Windows update, it stopped working. I cannot make it start encoding anymore. But the older version 3.99 is working fine. I don't see any CPU big load since also Gary mentioned that it's consuming a lot of CPU there. All right, guys, thank you very much. Great net as well, usual, and wish you all a great week, and hope to see you all next week. Going to Bert, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta. It's Papa Yankee 2 Radio November 73 is all.
Okay, thanks Ed. Papa Yankee 2 Radio Nancy from Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta. Yeah, that's indeed nice pictures from the waterfalls. it's rather a big one, and a lot of water is flowing there. Okay, we'll say everybody have a nice week. See you probably next time. Next time I don't know when, but mostly I'm watching. I'm not just a talker, just a listener. 73 to everybody, and the system then to Martin. GAKOE from the group Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta.
Yeah, you nearly caught me out there. I was busily pondering, but yeah, fine there, Bert. All good. And to you there, Ed, I wonder which... I find DATV Red 494, which is the very latest. I don't know whether you... the one prior 493, I did have problems with it not always launching as such in the browser. But the 494 is absolutely perfect in that respect, and very, very easy. So if it wasn't 494, then I would give it a try. There's certainly an improvement. What was done, I don't know, but certainly worked for me. I see nobody commented on your sketch there at the beginning there, Ed, but I enjoyed it very much. It made me laugh. And Michael there with yeah, the Link Pi. I must admit, in some respects, I'd like to play with one, but I'm not going to invest the money in it. And there's still peculiar little odd bits and pieces with the what I'm using as a DATV. Some things that I don't understand, but usually it's me losing my way and trying to get it to do things that it doesn't do and has never done, and I've just imagined it did. But yeah, it's I'm more happy with it than I'm not happy with it. I keep playing and finding odd little bits and pieces, but overall, it's serving the purpose. And yeah, the little audio mixer I think is actually great. Since I've connected everything up to the DATV, I've got plenty of gain now. I can actually wind it back, so I've got a bit of extra gain on each one, and it just seems to blend the audio in a treat doing it that way. But all that side of things I'm more than happy with, and in fact more than I'd hoped for. Anyway, it's a lot of waffle. I should have made more notes, but no, I can't think of anything else. So thanks very much for another good net there, Gary, and hope you haven't mentioned your moulds, so I presume they must be going well. Every other week, I think you've been looking somewhat not stressed isn't the right word, busy, shall we say, but you seem a bit quieter this week, so hope all is well, and I'll pass it on to Phil with all his problems, because I've got some more pies to breed. So Tesco, and it's all yours there, Phil, from G8KOE.
Right. Thanks, Martin. Yeah. Carry on breeding. That's all I can say, Martin. Carry on breeding. And if you've got a few spare, shove them my way. Yeah, great net as always, Gary. Absolutely brilliant. Michael, I know you said that you weren't going to look at the audio side of it, but one thing, if you do start looking at it, I think what I would do would be to list all the codecs that are available in your version of FFmpeg. and you'll be able to see which are the audio ones, and then it'd be, you know, just suck it and see, just try some of the more common ones. That's what I would do, but I know you're going to put it on the shelf, but just a little bit of advice. The command is, it's FFmpeg space minus, and then it's codecs, and that should list all the codecs that has been compiled in your version of FFmpeg. Yeah, I got on Monday, I'm going full fibre, so I've got an install happening on Monday. So I'm going from ADSL over to full fibre, which is going to be an interesting experience. I've already been supplied the router, but it's the ISP's router, and I don't use ISP routers, don't trust them. The router that I have got allegedly will work on a full fibre. We shall see. But the first thing will be just to get it up and running with the service provider's router, and then I can start fiddling around with what I'm going to do. But to be quite honest, you know, why do I need all these? I'm being forced to do it purely because I'm losing my PSTN line, which is going to happen to everybody in the UK eventually. And the only reason I've got a PSTN line is because if all the power fails in the house, I've got a phone line that will work. And then if I go over to voice over IP, and all power in the house fails, then it won't work. So there ain't much point in having a PSTN line, so I'm getting rid of that. But I don't need all this extra bandwidth. But what would be nice will be the upspeed link will go up considerably, so that would be good if I play around with servers, etc. But I won't have a fixed IP address. I'm not paying for that. But anyhow, so that's my install that's happening on Monday, all being well, fingers crossed. And I will be around next week, and should be around the week after. But after that, I'm away on my travels again, so I won't be around for probably about 3 weeks. But fingers crossed that all comes off. But yeah. So, right, so that's enough from me. Got my server to play with during the week. I just want to transfer some data off of that hard drive, and that's the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to hand it over to Michael. So if you're getting yourself ready, Michael, and I shall put up a test card, and then I shall kill carrier. Well, have a good week, guys, and hopefully I shall see you all next week. Right, test.
Yeah, okay, hello again. Yeah, Phil, I did actually list all the audio codecs available on this version, and I tried them all, actually. So it's something else, and I really don't know what it is at the moment. I will come back to it, obviously, but at the moment, believe it or not, I've had a few comments on the BATC chat saying, you know, when is it working? So I'm feeling the pressure. So I really would like to implement the RTMP input. The SRT can wait a little bit. I don't think there's a hope in hell of the BATC providing SRT inputs in the near future, but I'm sure they will eventually. I know they've been talking about it, but of course these things take time and possibly money as well. I don't know, but it will happen one day. In the meantime, if I do it first, I'll have to do what Martin's done and put one of these Media MTX servers in, which then involves opening ports on my external crappy router and so on, and either getting a static IP address or using dynamic DNS. But that has implications with the way I watch television. You know, using some kind of IP spoofing or whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called now. Anyhow, it would. I think it might have implications. So I'm not in a hurry to do that. But if I can test it locally, that would be good. But I mean, it's hard enough detecting RTMP. Detecting SRT is even more difficult because you can find examples of SRT servers on the GitHub and so on, but of course it would be a server, wouldn't it? I get very confused between servers and clients, but I get confused about whether it's summer or winter in South Africa as well. Anyhow, yeah, there was something else I was going to say, but I've totally forgotten now. So I think that's enough from me, and I'll move forward. I think where are we going now? Well, goodness, we're going to Benno. But if it's not Benno, I'm sure whoever it is will jump in. That is confusing, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's me that winds up the net. A solar system, then you won't need an ups on the... Well, no one's telling me, so I'm just going to hand it over to whoever's next, and if there's nobody next, then this is the end of the net, because I'm sure Gary said he was going. You see, I'm always confused. Okay, I'm going to put up a test card before I say anything stupid.
I had to laugh, Michael. So, you are a card, sir. And hello to Peter, DK3 Zulu Foxtrot. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, I did say this will be our final over, and then we'll close the net. Thanks to everyone for a really interesting afternoon. Great projects being done. And... yeah, the winter and summer, we're just the opposite of you guys, although in Spain you always have summer. But we're just the opposite of the UK, of course, because we are south of the equator. But anyway, it's been a fantastic net today, very interesting and insightful, as usual, actually. And I want to thank everybody for their contributions. Mike, incidentally, I met a guy, he doesn't know you, I did ask, but he comes from your part of the world. He also studied at Oxford. And he was born and bred in Oxfordshire. And he's very, very high up at BMW South Africa. He's head of the purchasing department. Very, very nice chap indeed. Paul Levitt is his name, Paul Levitt. But he didn't indicate whether he knew your famous name. Anyway, that's just for what it's worth. 7-3 to all. This is ZS6YI now closing the net, bidding everyone on frequency a very happy week, and we hope to see you all next Sunday, same time, 4 p.m. South African time, or 1400 UTC. This is ZS6YI now going QRT. 7-3 to all.